Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Brett stepping in front of the camera.
You're welcome.
Welcome, world. This is our Google Apps class live on YouTube from Larson Training Center in Las Vegas. So today we're going to continue what we were doing. This is the, there goes Brett again. This is continuation, and our objective is to get a magazine, not a magazine, a newsletter, an electronic newsletter. There's a mute button. Okay, so thank you, Brett. So we're going to continue our plan of getting a newsletter out. This is very important for business, and it's a great way to learn Google Apps. So where are we going? You know, if you don't know where you're going, what?
Any road will get you there.
Any road will take you there if you don't know where you're going. So in terms of where are we going, this week we're going to the place where by Friday, by the end of the day or Thursday for people in California, we are going to publish this Monday morning. So everybody on our list, so there's over 600 people on the mailing list right now, or 600 subscribers. Our goal is that by Monday morning at some time, we'll talk about that time, everybody on the list will be sent our newsletter. That's where we're going. At this point in time, everybody needs or should at least know what department they're in. Dennis, do you have anybody that doesn't know what department they're in? Dennis? Can you hear me? Looks like Dennis is doing something there. Okay, here. Is there anybody on this side of the room that doesn't know what department they're in? Okay. Phyllis, on your side, is there anybody who does not know what department they're in?
Okay, Ed, I'm here. Sorry to interrupt, but yes, everyone here has their assignment. They're in their group and should know what they're working on now. And they're starting to trickle in, sending me their white sheets so I can compile them.
Okay. So everybody knows what department they're in. Now, everybody should also know at this point in time that Monday morning at a certain time, this newsletter is being published. And so publishing is the legal term for distributing it. Okay, throwing it out there to the world. In our country, under our legal system, rights occur when you publish, not when you sign up. So in other words, your copyright exists when you publish something. It's not filing. Yeah, that's the other term. Other countries, you have rights occur when you file it with the government agency, like let's say a patent or copyright. In other countries, the system is your rights start when you file. In this country, rights start when you publish. So in a legal sense, publication is very important. And that just means distributing for our purposes. So Monday morning, this is going out, which means it needs to be done when, Kevin? Well, before Monday, before the deadline. And so if we work our way back, this will be sent out through MailChimp. And there was a movie on today's event. Allow me to recap. There was a movie on today's one of today's things about MailChimp. So I encourage everybody to learn to watch that tutorial about MailChimp. It's only a 5-minute thing. This is a valuable, a great tool. Is it the best? Is it the best tool? Would you guess it's the best tool?
Probably not.
Right. It's not the best tool. Okay. It'll do about 90% of what you need 90% of the time. But it's inexpensive. It's free. It works with Google. It's integrated into Google Apps. And it's a lot better than anything else. And it's easy to learn to use. So we're using MailChimp because it's better than good enough. So MailChimp is something everybody should become familiar with, even if you're not part of the design or publishing part. You should know about the tool MailChimp. All businesses can use a newsletter. I'm going to repeat that. All businesses can use a newsletter. If Miguel was here, I would say, Miguel, do you think that your carpet cleaning business could use a newsletter? And his first thought, before even saying anything, would probably be, I don't know, I never thought about it. Who would read my newsletter? And, you know, it depends. It depends on who he's going after that would read it, but there's a lot of people that get carpets cleaned. So there's a wide audience to choose from. Okay, so MailChimp is how we're going to do it. Now let's talk about time. What is a good time for this thing to go out Monday morning? So put yourself in the position of one of our subscribers.
I would say after 9 o'clock, when all businesses are like open and that, because we're talking about judges and stuff like that, and some of our
Okay.
potential subscribers. So when they get into the office, they'd like to see it.
So one person says after 9, soon after 9. Okay. Now somebody said after lunch, right? What else? Who else has?
I say 8.
Okay. Why do you say 8?
That's when a lot of people is checking their mails when they
Okay.
first walk in.
Who else has some ideas? No one else has ideas?
I think it should be one time. It should be, you should usually get a morning, a middle, and evening.
Okay. Send the same email 3 times? Well, here's the good news. With MailChimp, you can resend to people who didn't open it only. You can take your list, segment it to people who didn't open it. But, okay, so that's a thing. Now, who feels uncomfortable volunteering information in situations like this?
Everyone would have a, I would imagine, everyone would. You're talking about our readers?
No, I'm talking about our situation we're in now.
Oh.
Okay, the things that you feel uncomfortable doing are probably the things in a situation like this that you should do. I'm not talking about heroin. But in a classroom environment, the things you feel uncomfortable with are probably the things that you should do, so you don't shy away from them. And you should be able to articulate an answer. So if you find it's hard to articulate an answer, now is the time to learn to do that, because if your boss asks a question, generally it's because there's a problem that needs to be solved. And if you position yourself as the guy who won't speak, that's just an unnecessary burden you're putting upon yourself. That's like in Scrooge. Okay, well, just throw another chain on the guy's back and make it more difficult for him to succeed. Okay, so back to our question. In California, Dennis, does anybody have any suggestions of what time we should send this email out?
We pretty much 9 o'clock.
Okay, why 9?
Well,
Why 9 as opposed to 8?
9, usually 9. Most people are getting to work about that time. Most people work 9 to 5-ish type of thing, and it's early morning.
Okay,
People
all right.
check emails first thing.
Okay,
I'll say like 5.
okay, so Keith says right before they go home.
No, 5 in the morning.
Oh, 5 in the morning.
Right.
Okay.
So they can read it before they go to
Okay,
work or something.
so here's the challenge. Different people have different habits.
Right.
If you don't look at your email all weekend, you come in at 8 o'clock, what might you have in your inbox? You could have a lot of things, and all you're doing is looking for the important ones, right? We send La Voce Ciao Tutti out at 9:15 on Monday morning. And the reason we say 9:15 is because for the people who came in at 8, you've already gone through your mailbox once. People who come in at 9, you've already gone through your mailbox once. Now, when you go back to your mailbox to get some of the other stuff, guess what's at the top? What?
Your email.
Yeah, the La Voce is now at the top at 9:15. Monday seems to be a better day than Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. When we do it on Monday and we look at how many people opened it the whole week, it turns out there are more people opening it because there's 5 days. When we would send it out on Friday, we had the least amount of people doing it because we were thinking, okay, we're going to send it out after you went to work, after you went home. So it's going to be in your inbox Monday morning. Except where is it in your inbox?
At the bottom.
At the very bottom. So, so I think we should do after 9. So the question is 9:30 seem like a good idea, good time?
I think it is.
Okay, so this is just a yes or no. Okay, now, who in California is working in operations?
We got Joe, Anna, and so who else is in operation?
Okay, so we will integrate that with here to be making sure we have the right design, etc. Who's working in operations here? Okay, so we need 2 people to really understand and learn MailChimp, and not 2 people like not you, Odie, because you're done, basically. But you should learn MailChimp because it will help you for your business. But we need 2 people in operations to really start learning MailChimp, because who's that?
Ray and
Miguel.
Ray who? Ray, well, Ray is not on that because he's got to focus on other things. Who else?
Miguel.
Okay, well, guess what? He's not here either. So,
Okay, we also have other people in operations. We also have Julie and Elena. They're doing benefits of education. We have benefits of Larson. We have that was Joe and
okay.
Anna.
So that's on the content side.
Right.
Okay, so good. That's on the content side. Let's focus right now on the distribution side.
And the design.
On distribution.
Okay.
Let's focus on distribution for a second. Because,
That's Marie and Anna. Okay.
okay, so we need to get 2 people, and my suggestion would be that Joe, because Joe would be a good bridge between here and there.
A good bridge.
Okay, what is Joe? What department is Joe in?
Joe's actually working in the articles benefits of Larson.
Okay, so we need to get people involved in MailChimp to learn it, and then you have to make sure everybody else there, they have to make sure other people are at least familiar enough that in a pinch they'll do it.
Okay.
So here, Ray is graduating. He's moving to internship status, so he is not going to be on this thing. Okay? So, are you in operations? Okay, do we have anybody else? Brett, you raised your hand for something.
Yeah, I'm in operation.
Okay.
I was listening. I was asking, so we're working in conjunction with California on this then?
Yeah.
All right, just let them know I posted a circle on Google Plus for operations.
Okay, but are they part of your circle?
I know
Dennis?
Dennis is.
Okay. All right. So we'll get to that in a second. All right, so once we have the people that are going to learn MailChimp, you're the most important people right now. You can talk to Jonathan if he's here because he's involved in the MailChimp for Chowtuti. Horace, who's not here, also is. Are you Keith? Okay, Keith is involved in that. I'm certainly involved in it. And the message to the people doing MailChimp is you've got to get into MailChimp. You've got to look at the different templates because that's what it's all about, is how does it look? And there's about 200 different templates that we can use. Once we have that picked out, then the people doing the content have a good idea of how they proceed. Okay? So, somebody in administration, please put on the calendar that we're going to make sure this thing goes out, MailChimp, Monday at 10, no, not 10, 9:30. And MailChimp only gives you every 15 minutes. You can't really say 9:28. Okay, so we'll just say 9:30. That way, when we have this class, we'll be able to look at the numbers.
That's when this went out at 9:30?
Yeah. Okay, we schedule it to go out at 9:30. So here, Chow Tuti is scheduled to go out at 9:15 every morning, and there is a, for everyone else, there's a Google extension for MailChimp. How do we get an extension? Robert.
Oh, the App Store?
Right. Okay, so from the Google Store. Okay, so add an extension to your Chrome. Okay, not an app, add the extension. So it'll always be up there and it will always update. So it'll have the little MailChimp logo, and on top of it, it'll say how many people have opened it. Okay, so that's MailChimp. Now that we have when it's going out, now we can backtrack and figure out when does the content need to be supplied. And if anybody that's doing MailChimp wants to work over the weekend, that makes the deadline later. But if it's if the MailChimp people finish on Thursday, that means the content pretty much has to be done by tomorrow, because it's going to take a day, especially right now, to lay it out. Okay, so I suggest we have MailChimp this week. The responsibility is to have it go out from here. So whoever's volunteering to do MailChimp, that means you have to have it done by Friday. Okay. Next. That also means that the deadline, and so people that are in admin, you need to start putting these deadlines on the calendar. Whoever, so we need content finished, let's say 2 days before the deadline. So it's going out, so we want it done on Friday. That means by the end of Wednesday, we have to have all the content. But if we don't have the design, we don't know how much content we need. And we also have to make it so it's sustainable, meaning let's not go get 25 articles this week, and then next week we're sitting here thinking, wow, now what do we write about? People that are working on the obligation, how many people that are on the obligation are also in operations on this project? Okay, so that's an opportunity to get 2 bites of the same apple. Things that you post on the obligation theoretically can also be in this newsletter if you're writing content, if you're on the content side. So we need content by Wednesday. Now, how many people in California are marketing and sales?
Let's see, marketing and sales, we have, let's see, MailChimp, marketing and sales, Google 7, we have, that would be, Dennis and Kathy. We have Dennis and Kathy.
Okay.
And let's see. Are you considering maps? You got well, that's under marketing. So what area is under marketing Are you
Marketing is, for our purposes, marketing is getting subscribers.
getting subscribers? And let's see. So yeah, so far we have Dennis and Kathy.
Okay. So what Dennis and Kathy can do is they can, number one, get email addresses and add them to the subscriber list on MailChimp. So you're going to need to learn very quickly how to do MailChimp to add people to the list. Okay, this is all a numbers game. We could have the greatest content, but if nobody reads it, it doesn't mean much. Okay, so number one way is email addresses. Now, for the people who are in operations designing the MailChimp, make a note. You want to make sure that there's a place on there for people to subscribe. Now, the first thing you would say would be what? Huh? What do you mean subscribe? We sent it to them. They're already subscribers, right? So why do we need to have a subscription thing on the MailChimp, on the newsletter? This is the easy one. These are easy questions.
For somebody that's just viewing the newsletter for the first time, that maybe got it from
How they? Okay, right. We email it to somebody. We email it to this guy, right? He might send it to this person. This person we want to be able to sign up and subscribe. So we need to have a subscription thing on there, and MailChimp does that. So the people who are laying out MailChimp need to, we have feedback. People laying out MailChimp need to make sure the subscription applet is on there. Okay, but people in marketing get email addresses. That's one thing. For everyone else, we want to focus on getting people to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and on our website and on our Google Plus accounts and all of those things. Why? Why are we going to have Twitter and Facebook? Why do those people become important?
And they're already paying attention to it.
That's where people go for their sources of information, so they're already on that.
So what we will do is what? What are the marketing people going to do once this goes out on Monday and before it goes out on Monday? What are they going to do? They're going to post on Facebook and Twitter, hey, you want to subscribe to this. Here's a compelling story. Okay, that's what Huffington Post does. They post stories that other people write, and some number of the people who open the stories on Huffington Post say, oh, I want to follow that person. I like that person. I want to follow them. I want to know more of what they're doing. Or they repost things to other things like I do. Okay, so people in marketing, your days, today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day should be spent going on Twitter, doing a search for people who fit our profile of subscribers, and then follow them. Because what happens oftentimes when you follow somebody, they follow you back. You guys could be spending all day building up how many people we're following. Then, when we post something every day on Facebook and Twitter, there's a compelling story that hopefully was in the MailChimp, and it pushes them back to subscribe It enables them to read the newsletter, and it pushes them to subscribe, so that our subscriber base for MailChimp goes up. Okay, now what do we do on Facebook?
Push them towards.
What, Manuel? Same thing, right. Is that what you're going to say, basically? We do the same thing. Create awareness, make it easy for them to go to see the MailChimp, to see the newsletter, create awareness, make it easy for them to do it. When they get there, have compelling content. It's not hard.
Facebook
It's
becomes
simple,
an advertising.
but it's not easy. Huh?
Facebook becomes advertising.
Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, all of these things become means to acquire subscribers, to get eyeballs, as they say in Valley. To get eyeballs. That's what we need to do. So the people in marketing and operation, marketing and sales have a very important job, and that is get subscribers. People now doing the content need to understand, if the operations guys are doing their job and that thing is going out and it looks good, it's visually appealing, say it was in Chinese or a language I couldn't read, I could look at it and say, wow, this looks good. I wish I could read that language. I can't. But if the content is as good as it looks, it must be good. People are superficial. That is a thing that works. If it looks good and they got notified about it, now the content has to be compelling. And we need to do two things. Well, we need to do many things, a couple primary things. We need to give people information about things they don't know. Okay? And some of the things people don't know are bad, right? And some of the things people don't know about are good. Unfortunately, the way we are conditioned, if there's two headlines, one is bad and one is good, what do most people read first? Right. They read the bad one because my life isn't as bad. Okay, that makes me feel better about my life. There's a thing on Huffington Post called Good News. There's a department called Good News. And I have it on my thing as one of the things I look at. But I have to be honest, it's just not really compelling looking at good news. Okay, I mean, it just doesn't feel the same. So, but if we're going to talk about problems, we have to talk about solutions. And the solution is Larson. The solution to all problems that we are going to talk about has to be Larson. Okay, we can't talk about, it doesn't make any sense to talk about what happens if an asteroid crashes into the Earth. Okay, that's a problem, right? We can't do anything about that problem.
Destroy Larson.
Okay, we can't do anything about that problem, so we don't have a solution to that problem. There's no point wasting people's time talking about that problem.
But even if something like that is could be what would lure a reader to our publication, wouldn't that be enough?
No, because we can't talk about those stories with enough depth. There's so many other places they can go. Okay, we need to talk to them about stuff and be like, yeah, if you want to know about this, Larson is the this. If you work in a one-stop and your job is to get people retrained, spend money on getting them retrained, and you need to figure out what is the best school to send them to, okay, your problem is, I got to get people retrained. I got to help people get on with their lives. How do I do that? Okay, so we talk about problems and we talk about solutions. We can talk about students. We could do a little interview on William Hendricks about how far he has come. And I think William will tell you that before starting here, he had less than a 5% chance of getting stable and meaningful employment. Because his skill set, his age, his temperament, his knowledge was out of sync with what employers wanted. And how many people were here when William started? Okay, so if anybody was here and they remember William's first time doing a recitation, anybody remember that? How was it?
Shy.
Scared?
He didn't want to go.
He's wearing an adult diaper when he did it. And sweating. He got up there and he did it, but now he's very comfortable, right? Or much more comfortable. So that is the problem, is getting people who need skills, getting them the education they need. So that is what our stories have to talk about, problems and solutions. This is on the negative side. We're not going to put problem on the positives, on the good news side. So remember, there's two types of stories, good news and bad news. Good news stories would be success stories that we have here, and people aren't really going to want to subscribe to our thing because we say, yeah, this guy did this guy did that. That's just kind of reinforcement. When they make a decision and they want to feel good about the decision, you know, I want to have a guy like that, or I know a guy who could be like that, I'm going to put him in this school. That's where those stories become important. The bad news stories are the things that they live with every day. How do we take people who need help and get them into productive members of society? How do we turn them into taxpayers? That's the job of the people who work in one-stops. That's their fundamental purpose. It's not the same as Catholic Charities or Salvation Army, Food, Clothing, and Shelter. The people at the one-stops, their job is turn this person into a taxpayer. Give them the relief they need, give them the education they need so they can get a job and start paying taxes. Because no society works if everybody is on unemployment. It doesn't work. There's not enough people to pay for everyone else to do that. So we got to talk about problems, and the solutions are always Larson. Now we can talk about numbers. People like statistics. So on the marketing side, if you can do any statistics, I saw something on Huffington Post that said, I think 7 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 kids in public school in the United States are now living below the poverty line. Okay, well, let's project that out to the future. If that's where they are and they're in elementary school, what does the future look like for them? Not good. Okay, so let's start thinking about that now. If you are a teacher and you're a subscriber to our newsletter, you know, they should take some ownership of, you know what, I don't want my people, my students ending up that way. I need to make sure I'm doing everything I can to motivate them to learn the skills they need to do so they are not houseless, as Tiger Todd now says. So people in marketing and sales, you've got to be out there looking for subscribers. People in content, this is where it's the make it or break it. This is where people decide to read it next week. And when I mean next week, I mean the week after the first week they read it. They're going to decide to read it again, to open the email, to open the newsletter, based upon what they read. So we should have a lot of people looking for stories that are compelling and that have a positive, or there's a pathway to success. And you know, if there's anything good, if anybody has any other solutions, like if you can point out a problem, and besides saying Larson, if you can talk about here's another solution, here's what they did, okay, here's a problem here, you did research and you find out, well, in Arkansas, here's what they got that problem, here's what they're doing. That could be really valuable to one of our subscribers. Because, you know, we don't know what we don't know. And if your whole life is about coming to work, processing people in, you're trying to figure out who goes to school, where they go, doing the paperwork, you don't really have time to find out, well, who's doing other things out there? Okay? So that's the marketing people. You got to find compelling stories. And now we get to the admin. people, which is everything else. So we need to have stuff on the calendar. We need to make sure that the people who are posting have the Facebook, have the Twitter, have access to those accounts. Because we don't want to make this a thing where somebody writes but they can't post. Somebody else needs to post, because if that person doesn't post it, we're screwed. Okay? But one of our rules has to be, before you post something, somebody else has to proofread it. And then who gets in trouble if it goes out and it's still wrong? Well, the proofreader. Okay? Now, what the proofreader's thing is, they always have the right to say, I'm not going to proofread your stuff. Why? Why would they say that?
You should be proofreading your own work.
Well, you need to do your best on your own, but proofreading your own stuff isn't enough, because we don't see mistakes that we make. Okay? But you want to make sure, okay, so the proofreader can say, well, I don't want to proofread your stuff, Ed, because it's too much work. You don't have right, it's not just spelling errors, it's grammar errors. It's, you know, the whole thing is just not really, the logic isn't thought out. Okay, so at that point, then we need to get, you know, somebody else involved who has more time, because some people have a lot of good ideas, but they can't articulate them well. And we don't want to discourage people who have ideas, but they can't articulate them, because that's why we're here. That's why we have our GED class on Wednesday, is so we can learn how to better communicate and articulate what we think. So, but our rule has to be, you can't post unless it's been proofread. And so in admin, part of your job is also to be the Gestapo. If something goes out, or the military police, if that's easier to comprehend, okay? Here's the rules, we have to follow the rules, because if we don't follow the rules, what happened? People die, as Manuel would say. Okay. Okay, so think in terms of, we have one chance to make a good first impression. We have one chance, and we've learned this the hard way at La Voce, or Ciao Tutti, is members of the Italian American Club, who should be opening the email every week, some people refuse to open the email because they didn't like something that was in it before. And they think, oh, I don't like that, I'm not going to read it again. And it has changed so much in the last year that if they did open it, they'd see it's not what they think it is. But it's like, you know, you have one bad experience at Kmart and you probably don't go back, right? So we have to have that kind of burnt into our souls on the content side. On the guys who are putting the content, we have one chance to make a good first impression.
Content, that's operations.
That's operations. Okay? Now, if we have enough content, people are very forgiving about that. Okay, what do they say? What do you say if you take a magazine, you like part of it, you don't like the other parts? What do you say?
Well, it's worth giving it another chance.
No, that's not what people say. Because you saw something you
I
liked.
saw some I like, some, you know.
What do you say about the other stuff?
Garbage.
Okay, but what do you say about it? You don't say, I'm not going to read the paper, right?
Yeah.
You say, other people might like that. Here's what I like, other people might like that. Here's a statistical fact. Ice cream parlors. Most people buy vanilla, chocolate, or strawberry. How many? So a business guy might say, well, I don't need those other 29 flavors, right? Because 70% of the people buy chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry. I could save a lot of money, reduce my my power bills and things like that. I'll just have vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, and even though I'm only going to get 70% of the people, my expenses will go down by less than that. Is that a good idea? We already know it's a bad idea, right? And I say, but why? 7 out of 10 people are going to buy vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. Why do I need to have 29 other flavors? Well, but they really don't, because 70% are buying. Okay?
People may not come into your store if there's only 3 flavors.
They don't come in the store, and it's like we saw in our TED Talks last week, where there are things that we can't, our brain just, you know, we see this, we see that, we know it's not the thing. We know they're the same size, but we can't see it. And so if somebody says 3 flavors of ice cream, and this guy says, well, we have these 3, but we also have 29 more, people are going to go to the 29. And when you go into the place and you buy strawberry, you choose strawberry, you don't say, well, they should get, I'm not going to go to that store because they offer 29 flavors that I don't like, right? Why are they confusing me? Why isn't it just a store with 3 flavors? They say, well, some other people like that stuff. I don't like it, but other people are free to like it. So if we have a lot of content, we don't lose if a person likes that. If Kevin finds that compelling, he isn't going to say, I'm not going to read it because they have other things I don't like. And what he's going to say is, other people are going to like that. I don't like the same thing as everyone else. And he's probably going to think of, this is a better magazine because it has a more diverse perspective. Okay, so the message to the people that are doing the content, don't feel we need to just be saying one thing. We're reaching out to one audience, but members of that audience are different from one another. They're not exactly the same. We're not clones. Okay, so we've got 2 minutes before time. Dennis, what do you want to say?
Let's see. Just had a question about the campaigns. So basically, the campaigns are basically who, as far as in MailChimp, the campaigns are what the list we send out, correct?
The content headings?
No, in the campaigns in MailChimp, you know, where you have the templates and the campaigns.
Yes.
So the campaigns are basically the letters that we would send out. Our list.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So for everybody to know, in MailChimp, they don't call it an issue of your newsletter. They call it a campaign, an email campaign. So when they refer to campaign, hey, start a campaign, build a campaign, we have to translate into, that's the next issue. Their word campaign is our word of issue or volume or something like that. Okay, so that's a good point. What else?
That's all I have right now.
Okay, so what we need to do is we need to make sure that all of the people in California are in the appropriate circles and vice versa for here. Okay, because this thing is going to be 20 million times better if it's viewed as something internally viewed. We're going to have a lot better content, a lot better ideas, a lot more if this is a collaborative enterprise, as opposed to you guys do your parts and we'll do our parts. Also, when we bring it down to the level of work, when you go in for an interview, or if you do get a position in a company, if you have been able to do collaborative cloud stuff, you're going to feel much better, you're going to have more value and feel much more confident because you'll be competent in doing these things. You know, it's one thing to say, I can help you get to the cloud, but you're not going to say that confidently if you're not competent, unless you're a psychopath. Okay. Brett, something to say. Proceed. Yes.
Are we going to be able to get a list of who our partners are?
That's what we're talking about. So,
Posted that.
oh yeah.
Form too.
Okay, so Brett posted a form. Also, Dennis, there's a form posted by Brett called what?
Project update database.
Project Update Database. I didn't have a chance to look at it thoroughly, but does it have everybody's name, email?
No, I just posted it to the circle this time where they can enter the information,
Right.
so we can get a spreadsheet of what everybody's doing and stuff. And
And their email address and their names and what department?
yes,
Do you have department on there?
yes.
Okay, good. So Brett has created a form that everybody should, let's make sure everybody has it, everybody does it, and then we'll republish it so everybody can see who everybody else is and what they're doing.
Okay.
And that's how we will get a lot more brain power, turn this into a supercomputer. Okay, they're saying they don't have it, Brett.
It's just an operation, right, Brett?
No, that's for everybody.
Or did you post it publicly?
Public, no, to the circles in there, so it's, if you're not in my circle, you didn't get it.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're not one of the 3 people in Brett's circles, you didn't get it.
Dennis got it.
Okay, okay, so,
All right, I'll figure that, I'll get it.
okay,
posted.
good. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll pick up the ball tomorrow and carry it down the field. And Joe, we'll see you this afternoon.
Okay. All right, Joe.
Okay.
See you this afternoon. Okay. Thank you.
Bye.